Today is the 263rd day of the continued oppression and communication blackout faced by the people of the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir since India's illegal and unilateral action on 5th August 2019. In the past few days, the Indian occupation forces have carried out cordon and search operations in civilian areas of the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir and used excessive force against unarmed innocent civilians, which resulted in the martyrdom of 8 Kashmiri civilians. These included Rahil Magre, Asif Ahmad Dar, Muhammad Akbar Shah, Vakil Ahmad Dar, Tariq Ahmad Bhatt, Uzair Amin Bhatt, Basharat Hussain, and Ashik Hussain in Shopian and Kishtwar areas. It needs to be reminded once again that the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir is an internationally disputed territory, and any violations of international law, killing, use of brute force, arresting people, and blocking of communication services and the internet constitutes violations of international laws. Pakistan is also concerned at the increasing persecution of journalists in the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir, including that of Masarrat Zehra, Pirzada Ashik, and the renowned journalist and political commentator Gohar Gilani on concocted and baseless charges. In this context, the executive director of the Amnesty International recently stated that the harassment and intimidation of journalists through draconian laws such as the UAPA threaten efforts to address the COVID-19 pandemic and creates an atmosphere of fear and reprisal. This severely undermines the human rights guarantees of the people of Jammu and Kashmir and denies the people in India and around the world the right to know. Unquote. It is also deeply disconcerting that the discriminatory and anti-Muslim policies and practices of the RSS-inspired BJP government persist even as the COVID-19 pandemic unfolds. A systematic campaign is unfortunately underway to demonize Muslims who face increased exclusion as well as the threat of mob violence. The OIC, in its recent statement, has expressed deep concern following media accounts of rising anti-Muslim sentiments and Islamophobia within political and media circles as well as on social media platforms, where Indian Muslim minority community is being blamed for the spread of the coronavirus. The OIC's Independent Permanent Human Rights Commission, the IPHRC, has also condemned the unrelenting, vicious Islamophobic campaign in India, maligning the Muslim community for the spread of the COVID-19, as well as the negative profiling in media, subjecting them to discrimination and violence with impunity. Separately, as you are aware, the Prime Minister had a telephone conversation with the President of the United States yesterday, where Prime Minister Khan extended our sympathies and condolences on the loss of precious lives in the US as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The two leaders also exchanged views on the implications of the pandemic on global economy, as well as discussed regional issues and ways to further strengthen cooperation between our two countries. The Prime Minister also highlighted Pakistan's efforts to contain the spread of the virus and the efforts to provide relief to the vulnerable segments of the society. The Prime Minister also thanked President Trump on the US support at the IMF and other multilateral fora that would assist Pakistan in mitigating the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Subsequent to Pakistan's proposal, a video conference of SAARC member states is being held today to discuss the COVID-19 pandemic, where Special Assistant to the Prime Minister for Health, Dr. Zafar Mirza, will lead the Pakistan delegation. Besides ministers and senior officials, The meeting will be attended by Secretary General of SARC, His Excellency Isala Ruwan Veerakhan. This virtual meeting takes forward Pakistan's earlier initiative to host the SARC Health Ministers meeting, which has assumed urgency in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to exchanging updates on the status of national containment efforts, the conference will also deliberate on ways to promote deeper cooperation to combat the crisis, including through strengthening disease surveillance, sharing best practices, building national capacities, coordinating research efforts, and promoting regional and international linkages. This video conference is part of Pakistan's efforts to foster greater cooperation at the regional level to effectively overcome the public health crisis and mitigate its socio-economic impact. In the wake of COVID-19 outbreak and as part of the national effort, under the direction of the Foreign Minister, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and all our missions abroad continue to provide our overseas communities with relief and assistance wherever required. Food rations are being provided by all missions abroad to those in need, as well as any financial assistance where needed. Repatriation of our nationals back home also continues as per the comprehensive and phased plan developed in coordination with all stakeholders. In the past few days, as part of the third phase of repatriation plan that commenced from 20th till the 28th of April, 81 nationals were repatriated from South Africa, Botswana, Swaziland, Mozambique, and Lesotho. This also included 31 Tablighi members. From UAE, 1,453 of our nationals were repatriated through 6 flights on 20th April. This also included 100 prisoners. From Maldives, 9 stranded Pakistanis were brought home safely on 22nd April. So far, the total number of our nationals brought back home in the third phase of the repatriation plan stands at 5,079. In addition to this, in the last few days, 41 stranded Pakistanis were brought back home from India through the Wagah border. 195 truck drivers came through Afghanistan on 17th April, as well as over 1,000 other stranded Pakistanis came home through the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. That brings a total of 1,254 nationals that came back to Pakistan through our land borders in the last few days. Thank you.